The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Tuesday, November 16th, 2021, and the question before us today is whether white supremacists could get away with murder from Kenosha, Wisconsin to Brunswick, Georgia. And we are also answering the question whether or not a failed president can get away with treason. Let's unpack these questions today. We begin with On the Clock with Georgia Ford.
A jury is currently deliberating in the Rittenhouse trial after the prosecution and defense gave their closing arguments. This after an 18-year-old traveled across state lines following the shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, rather. And what we saw from Rittenhouse as he landed in Wisconsin, he ended up partnering up with some business owners trying to protect their businesses, and as a result shot two people who are out protesting and injured another. I want you guys to take a listen to the latest coverage from the trial.
National Guard on alert as Kenosha, Wisconsin braces for a verdict in the homicide trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse faced 6 charges for his actions on the night of August 25th, 2020, when he was armed with an AR-15 rifle, including 3 homicide-related charges: first-degree reckless homicide, first-degree intentional homicide, and first-degree attempted intentional homicide. Rittenhouse has pleaded not guilty to all counts. But on Monday, ahead of closing arguments,
the court is confined on that kind of a motion to what's in the complaint and whether it meets the law. I think it ought to have been mighty clear that I had big problems with this statute. I've made no bones about that from the beginning. Is the firearm here now? If the barrel length is less than 16 inches or an overall length less than 26 inches, then I'll deny the motion. If it does not meet those specifications, then this defense motion will be granted.
It is not a short-barreled shotgun or a short-barreled rifle, yes.
Either by barrel or by overall length?
Correct.
All right, and then count 6 is dismissed.
The judge dismissed one of the charges for illegal gun possession, informing the jury.
So that will not be something that you will need to address. You'll need to address only the first 5 counts.
The judge is also permitting the jury to consider lesser offenses for 2 of the felony charges, if the members aren't unanimous on the more serious corresponding charge.
Ben, I want to unpack this a little bit. I know that we are going to listen to the closing arguments from both sides, some of the highlights there, but that's a lot to unpack, knowing that the judge dismissed the gun charges and then is giving the jurors the opportunity to convict on 2 lesser charges if they're not unanimous in the conviction on the higher felony level charges.
Right. Good morning, Georgia. Yeah, this is it can't get any clearer that this is the red carpet being rolled out for white supremacy, for this poster boy, this poster child. Kyle Rittenhouse has become the poster child for all that is this resurgence, this renaissance of white supremacy that we're living through. That said, this judge has made it clear that he is going to do everything within his power to make sure that not only does Kyle get a fair hearing, but that he gets an above fair hearing. I mean, I've never seen images like I've seen of a murder defendant, so casual with the judge in my life. And I think it's just a display of how much they have rolled out the red carpet for white supremacy here.
And for those of you who have not been following along in this trial, let's go ahead and take a listen to the prosecution's closing arguments.
At this point, the crowd is dealing with what they perceive to be an active shooter. The crowd sees the defendant running with a gun. He's lying to them. He still has the gun. He's shot someone. This is provocation to them. This is someone who has committed a criminal act and is putting people in danger. It is entirely reasonable for that crowd to believe at that moment that he is a threat to kill again. The defendant could have made it unequivocally clear what he was doing. He could have stayed at Mr. Rosenbaum's body, helped protect him, helped preserve his life, call 911. He could have dropped the gun. He could have raised his hands in surrender. He could have signaled to this crowd that he did not pose a threat anymore. But everything he does is indicative of someone who is still a threat. And I got to stop here for a moment and highlight the hypocrisy of the defense. Because according to the defense, if someone has a gun, they're a threat. If someone points a gun, they're a threat. There's only one exception to that. The defendant. By their logic, he gets to run around with a gun all night. But, oh, we're not supposed to take him as a threat. He gets to point the gun at everyone. But, oh, we're not supposed to take him as a threat. No, it doesn't work that way. The same set of rules apply to the defendant as everybody else. There's no exception in the law for Kyle Rittenhouse. There's no exception that says, if anyone else has a gun, you're a danger, except for Kyle Rittenhouse. There's no exception in the law that says, if you point your gun at people, oh, that makes you a threat and I can kill you, except for Kyle Rittenhouse. I can do it all night long.
As Mr. Binger said, he brought a gun to a fist fight. And he was too cowardly to use his own fist to fight his way out. He has to start shooting.
So how do we evaluate the defendant's performance as a medic that night? Well, on one hand, he wrapped up an ankle and I think maybe helped somebody who got a cut on their hand. Yay. On the other hand, he killed 2 people, blew off Gage Gross-Kurtz's arm, and put 2 more lives in jeopardy. So, you know, when we balance your role as a medic that night, I don't give you any credit.
You know, Ben, when you hear the prosecution there, I think that it was pretty bold of them to point out the defense being hypocrites, but they made their point. And I think that is the type of boldness is going to take if they're going to sway jurors to find him guilty. It's going to take the jurors to see the hypocrisy in the defense's arguments in this case.
That's right. And, you know, people we oftentimes dismiss conservatives as, you know, not smart or maybe not the brightest, you know, bulbs in the bunch, but they are able to demonstrate a level of cognitive dissonance, or rather some mental gymnastics that's brilliant here, because in this instance, they are going to clearly see the hypocrisy, but they are going to make an exception. It's special pleading. We see it all the time. They are going to make, and I don't want to make this conclusion on behalf of the jury. We'll see what the jury says, but all around the country, people are making this argument that yes, this is the hypocrisy that they believe should be true, that they should have the right to kill us and that we should have no ability to view them as a threat and to defend ourselves.
And quick, before we move on here, I want you guys to take a listen to the highlights from the defense's arguments.
We don't play fast and loose with the facts, pretending that Mr. Rosenbaum was Citizen A #1 guy. He was a bad man. He was there. He was causing trouble. He was a rioter. And my client had to deal with him that night alone. They want it to be that Kyle was out there doing something improper. Kyle was a 17-year-old kid out there trying to help this community. He was asked to provide help in protecting property at the car sources. It started and he did it. Ladies and gentlemen, other people in this community have shot somebody 7 times and it's been found to be okay. And my client did it 4 times in 3/4 of a second to protect his life from Mr. Rosenbaum. Kyle shot Joseph Rosenbaum to stop a threat to his person. And I'm glad he shot him, because if Joseph Rosenbaum had got that gun, I don't for a minute believe he wouldn't have used it against somebody else. He was irrational and crazy. One with his hands, one with his feet, one with a gun. Hands and feet can cause great bodily harm. Sure, the state's going to get up and say, well, he didn't have great bodily harm, so it doesn't matter. That's not the standard.
So, you know, there you're seeing what the defense laid out in defense of Kyle Rittenhouse. And ultimately, if the jury believes that Rittenhouse was acting in self-defense, he is going to get off if they believe that.
Mhm.
But it's interesting because throughout the trial, we continuously heard this point that how is he acting in self-defense when he himself is actually the threat?
That's right. That's right. Well, no, and that's the thing. It's the absurdity of white supremacy. These white men believe that they have the ability to infiltrate in any area that they go into. They have to be respected as the authority there, because that's the only lens through which this defense argument makes any sense. The only way Kyle Rittenhouse can get away with this is if he himself was deputized as an authority to go there and to create the situation that he created, because he was deputized. But he wasn't, Georgia. And this is why this precedent in this case is so dangerous, because there's so many other aspiring Kyle Rittenhouses out there who want to follow in his suit. And if they see that he can get away with it, I fear we're going to have a resurgence of these white supremacists, wannabe vigilantes who are trying to be the next Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, very dangerous there. Well, we will continue following this. The jury is going to continue deliberating today, and we're expecting that verdict to come down at any time. Ben, I know that you're tracking a story this morning as well.
Yes, Donald Trump, former president, as Brother Mac refers to him as negative 45. There's a tape that has been released of him defending the chant that took place on January 6th, where they chanted, "Hang Mike Pence." Now, as an aside, this is kind of the absurdity of where we are, right? This is a former president talking about the death threat against his vice president, and we're here having to discuss it as if it's regular news. But I digress. Here's the clip of Donald Trump basically explaining away and justifying the chant of "Hang Mike Pence" on January 6th.
Were you worried about him during that siege? Were you worried about his safety?
No, I thought he was well protected, and I had heard that he was in good shape. No,
you heard those chants. That was terrible. I mean,
he could have. Well, the people were very angry.
They're saying "Hang Mike Pence."
Because it's common sense. How can you, if you know a vote is fraudulent, right? Yeah. How can you pass on a fraudulent vote to Congress?
How can you? And so, Georgia, there is the second absurdity underneath the first absurdity, right? The reason we're discussing it is the president of the United States is justifying the threat against his colleague,
and
the vice president. He's
justifying the big lie.
Exactly. The big lie at the same time. So there we have it. We're dealing with a lot at one time across this country. And I think that just puts a fine point as to how far this country goes on behalf of mediocre white men like Donald Trump.
Well, and I'm reminded of the way that violence and so-called white supremacy go hand in hand. Here we're hearing from Trump the justification for people saying, "Hang Mike Pence," just as we concluded a conversation about Kyle Rittenhouse, who felt like he had the authority to go kill two people and injure another.
That's right.
So the level of violence that we see from people who have so much hatred in their heart, that I think is really the true danger and the thing that's most jeopardizing democracy at this point.
Yeah. And that's the critical thing. We're allowing, these are not the best, or rather, if this is the best that white supremacy can do, I think it's time for white supremacy to stand down. If Donald Trump is the apex, right? If Kyle Rittenhouse is your hero, then I think that you all should hang your heads in shame, because these people are really discussing this in context of our whole democracy. We're talking about trading our entire democracy for someone as mediocre as Donald Trump. That's the absurdity of the moment.
Well, we will see when he runs for president again.
in 2024, right?
We will
And
see.
you know what? To be honest with you, Georgia, Democrats aren't doing us any favors here. Like, with the polling, with the kind, I know, we could discuss. We're going to discuss later on in the show the infrastructure bill that was signed into law yesterday, which is a decent first step, but it really comes short in terms of what the people are looking for. And I'm afraid that the Democrats might be giving Donald Trump everything he needs to win in 2024 or have a successful run in 2024, which is a terrifying notion.
The true test of the state of America will be whether or not we reelect Donald Trump.
Well, it's a terrifying notion.
My. Well, I want to turn now to Georgia, where the trial is currently underway for the killers of Ahmaud Arbery. Take a look at a recap from coverage.
Formally moved for a mistrial under the 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendments of the U.S. Constitution, which are parallel provisions of the Constitution of the state of Georgia. We contend that the atmosphere of the trial, inside and outside the courtroom, at this point, has deprived Mr. Bryan of his right to a fair trial. I understand that co-counsel vehemently disagree on some aspects of that motion, and if they don't want to join, that's their business. But I represent Mr. Bryan, and my concern, Your Honor, notwithstanding what in my observation would be extraordinary efforts on the part of the court to avoid anything that would interfere with the right of these defendants to a fair trial. At the same time, in extraordinary cases like this, additional steps have to be taken. We have not secured the front of this courthouse. The Transformative Justice Coalition still flies their banner virtually every day outside in what should be protected grounds. Your Honor, we have had several instances during jury selection of nonverbal communications between the victim's family and jurors, or from juror to the victim's family. We've had several emotional outbursts during the trial of this case, notwithstanding the substantial efforts of the court to ensure that they don't take place. And we have had civil rights icons sitting in here in what the civil rights community contends is a quote-unquote test case for civil rights in the United States.
These are all very, very separate issues, neither which independently or even together at the same time require manifest necessity for a mistrial. We ask that you deny that mistrial.
Georgia, I love the succinctness with which she just unraveled his pitiful argument.
Yeah, I mean, she said neither independently nor collectively do any of those arguments merit a mistrial. But that is what we'll see from defense attorneys. We saw it in the Derek Chauvin trial. The defense, at any opportunity, would ask for a mistrial, ask for everything to just be thrown out. And, in this case, it's shocking that it is 2021 and we're hearing defense using the presence of pastors, civil rights icons, the presence of them being a reason for a mistrial. I don't quite, while I, as a journalist, try to understand both sides so that at least I can report on them, I can't quite wrap my mind around the logic there. What is it about the presence of a pastor, a Black pastor specifically, that merits a mistrial?
Well, it's split up into two different cases. But if you look at both the Rittenhouse case and this Arbery case, essentially what they're saying is the very presence of a Black peacemaker should be viewed as a threat, while the presence of a white man with a gun should not be viewed as a threat, and the authority should be given to that white kid or white man with a gun, because if he gets off in the Rittenhouse case, that's what this system is saying to us, all while making the argument that someone like Jesse Jackson is the real threat and should, constitute a mistrial. The absurdity of it all.
I thought that having a pastor around was a good thing. And, there has been some organizing that's been happening. I received a press release yesterday from the National Action Network, which is the network of uh, uh, Al Sharpton. And they are organizing for, I believe, more than 100 Black pastors to take a stand outside of the courthouse. And so, if they're asking for a mistrial just based on the presence of one, I wonder what's going to happen when they walk outside and there's 100.
Well, I'm going to be there and bring you the reaction live because I knew when I heard it that the response was going to be probably thousands of Black pastors. I want to see it. So there's a good chance we'll be there on this Thursday.
Man, a little prayer ain't never hurt nobody.
Unless you're a devil.
Well, rebuke Satan there.
Oh, Lord. You
Ben,
about to walk
I
me
do.
into some trouble here, Georgia.
I know, right? And good thing Anthony's not here.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes.
He
Yes.
might be flying down there to participate, but what the outcomes of these trials will ultimately determine is the way in which Black lives are valued in a post George Floyd society. And I also believe that whether or not Rittenhouse is held accountable will send a message, as you were saying earlier, to other individuals on how bold and violent they can be in their approaches when they're responding to protests for Black lives.
That's right. And here's one last thing that I would say about it is people who want to make the distinction and say, oh, well, Rittenhouse's victims were not Black, therefore it can't possibly be white supremacy. You have to understand what drove that little devil to cross state lines was in reaction to Black life being protested for, like people standing up for Black lives. That's why he showed up. And I think that it might just be a disappointing detail in the grand total of their white supremacy that they killed 2 white people and not Black people. But that didn't stop him. Here we are. And the real question is, like you said, Georgia, at the end of the day, what is the value of Black life and the life of those who stand up on behalf of Black lives?
Yeah, and that ideology is very deep rooted in the evolution of white supremacy and the attack on Black life. I mean, when you go back to white folks who were assisting in slaves escaping from slavery, when you go back in the 50s and 60s and you look at folks who were in interracial relationships, what were those white people called? They had a very special name for those kind of white people. They called them
those race traders.
Oh, well, and
the other
so
one too.
It evolves, right? And so there has always not only been an attack on Black life, but there has also been an attack on people who support and love and will help Black people. We've seen that, and that it has evolved in the way in which it looks and how it shows up. But in the 21st century, it's Kyle Rittenhouse showing up to Kenosha, Wisconsin with a gun and killing 2 people, 2 allies, two individuals who are saying that police should not be out here shooting Black men in the way in which we saw that happen to Jacob Blake.
I'm reminded of what Brother Mac would say here as a point of history, right? That white supremacy has never had an issue with killing white people. Never has. Or even, in whatever context, it will take collateral damage on behalf of their mission. And we've seen it through history. So when you were saying people who have been killed while they were protesting for Black lives, I'm thinking of the murders of Cheney, Goodman, and Schwerner. The story that most people know underneath the movie Mississippi Burning. I think it's one of the best examples in the minds of a lot of Black people of a certain age of how willing white supremacy is to kill white people in order to accomplish their agenda.
Absolutely. Well, I know we are on the clock. What can people expect coming up in the next hour?
Georgia, as we get ready to talk about some of these issues that are coming across the country in the next segment, January 6th is still on question. And Steve Bannon has now surrendered himself as it pertains to being subpoenaed by the Select Committee. So we're going to unpack that. But he did not come in quietly. He had a lot to say for the cameras. So we're going to talk about everything that Steve Bannon is doing, turning himself in after being subpoenaed by the Select Committee.
Keep it here for that and more on The Benjamin Dixon Show.
Good morning, good people. Y'all know who it is. You know the voice, you know the sound. It's your boy, James Bubba Williams is in the building. DJ Exclusive is on. Good morning, everybody. Get your coffee, your tea, whatever it is you need to get your morning going, y'all. Good morning, everybody. Shout out to everybody already in the chat room, man. Y'all ain't here this morning. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, y'all. Come on in. Come on in. Good. Come on in. Good morning, y'all. I see y'all. All right, y'all. I think we are ready to go. The Benjamin Dixon Show. It's ready to go down.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Tuesday, November the 16th, 2021. Thanks so much for joining me, as always, joined by my brother from another mother, DJ Exclusive. How's it going, man?
Good. So how you doing this morning?
Man, I'm good. I'm in hoodie mode today. I'm tired. I went out and hit the beach this morning and just ran and stretched and stuff, but I think I overdid it. So I was like, you know what? I barely made it. I said, let me throw on a hoodie and just get here. So
right.
I'm not a young lad anymore. I'm out there trying to get my life, and I think I might have lost my ankle, but I digress. But
right.
Anyway. Listen, I want to make a correction from yesterday's show, and I'm not really sure which segment it was, but we were discussing Kyle Rittenhouse, and details matter. We recently said that Kyle Rittenhouse crossed state lines with his gun. In fact, he obtained the gun illegally after entering the state. Now, we made a mistake.
Wow.
But James, it's actually worse than what we said. He obtained the gun illegally on the other side. So we want to make that correction, file that underneath the Department of Corrections. We don't always get it right, but we're glad to correct it when we don't.
And Ben, let me ask you, bro, I didn't even know that. I thought myself to be following this trial pretty good, even before everything happened. Like, when did that happen? Like, when did that information come out?
You know what, man? I'm with you, because actually you and I, we that's when we really kind of got started with all this, right around that time, and we were covering it. And I had some of those details at that time, but I'm gonna be honest with you, when you think about all these cases, it's just so much information. Sometimes it's easy to get lost in the details, man.
Because here it is. I thought that the whole time these guns were his that he already had with him at home because that's the kind of energy he gives. And I'm thinking he traveled with those. So you're telling me that he didn't get those until he crossed over state lines illegally.
Right. As if that's better, right? And so this is the crazy thing is like when you hear these clowns make these arguments, they make these arguments as if, well, he didn't take it across state lines. He got it while he was there. Yeah, you moron. That means it's illegal. Right. It makes it worse. But they live in this alternate universe, man. I mean, we're really dealing with people who see the world upside down.
Yeah, agreed. And I see David said he can help on this as well too.
So yeah, just a couple of details. Basically, he I think it was a friend of his. He gave money to get it because he's also not of age to have a gun in Wisconsin, which is the main illegal part. It may also have been bought illegally. I'm not sure about that part, so I don't want to say that incorrectly. But after his friend
he himself had no legal. Right, it was illegal for him to hold and have possession of that gun.
Of course, he was, wanting to get a gun, like he was wanting to legally get one. It was in his, goals and his plans. But that's what people he likes to throw out there. He was like, I was gonna get one though, and I needed it for my protection anyway. Well, but you're not allowed to. And so he. Yeah, and I think when he was in Kenosha, he got it at his stepfather's house or something like that.
Wow. Well, they make those arguments as if it's better when it's actually worse. So, but I want to make sure that we got that correction in because it's a detail that matters. He didn't cross state lines with the gun. He obtained the gun there illegally, which is insult to injury because the judge, of course, who is Rittenhouse's best buddy, throw him some B-roll of that judge, David, because this guy I've never seen such a fatherly relationship between a judge and a double homicide defendant.
Right.
They're so chummy. Right. And now they're breaking out the National Guard, right? The National Guard in preparation for the response and the reaction. They're expecting the jury possibly to come back as early as tomorrow. But honestly, I don't think we should give. I don't think anybody should give this dog and pony show our energy. We already know the fix is in.
And then I saw that they took out or they threw out one of the charges yesterday as well too.
Yeah. The gun charge, the illegal possession. The thing we just got done talking about.
I was just about to say, you see how all of it ties in right now, right?
Yeah. That's what they threw out. That's what the judge threw out. David, do we have that section queued up? If we do, let's listen to the judges. I want you to hear the explanation and the links. This judge goes above and beyond to give this white boy all the grace he would ever need to get away with a double homicide. And if this man had been black, that he would be probably facing the death penalty. Instead, Kyle Rittenhouse is best buds with this judge, who I'm sure is an honorable man. Let's run the clip.
The court is confined on that kind of a motion to what's in the complaint and whether it meets the law. I think it ought to have been mighty clear that I had big problems with this statute. I've made no bones about that from the beginning. Is the firearm here now? If the barrel length is less than 60 inches or an overall length less than 26 inches, then I'll deny the motion. If it does not meet those specifications, then this defense motion will be granted.
It is not a short-barreled shotgun or a short-barreled rifle, yes.
Either by barrel or by overall length?
Correct.
All right, and then count 6 is dismissed.
The judge dismissed one of the charges for illegal gun possession, informing the jury.
So that will not be something that you will need to address. You'll need to address only the first 5 counts.
I'm speechless, bro, because you threw the rule out based off the barreling of a.
Be
quiet.
They
really
I'm gonna start
cussing, Ben. Be quiet. Bro.
They really do have a problem with length.
Why you had to take it to me?
Otherwise, bro, we take it to the streets.
Yeah,
Can we go joke about this? It's okay. It was too long. It was too short. The judge clearly demonstrating that he has no regard for justice and he yields and bows before the throne of white supremacy, man. Because have you ever seen any judge in the history of judgedom go this far on behalf of a double homicide defendant? Never. So that said, I'm not. I don't know. I don't think we should protest one bit if and when this man gets off, because that's what they want, and it's not even a matter of like giving them or not giving them what they want. It's that we're watching it. It's like it's not a surprise to us. We're not going to be shocked when they give the verdict and then all of a sudden it ignites this big. No, we're watching it in real time, you morons. We see how absurd you are. So we're not going to be shocked when it gets off. Not enough to go and give you the response they want.
Right. Now, with the Ahmaud Arbery case, if that goes sideways, like
bruh.
man.
Man, look here.
Man. We need to make sure we set some bail money aside or something, bro. I don't know.
We're gonna have to start a bail fund. www. Get Ben out. Ben
and
Bubba
out.
Bring us out. Run us those cash apps.
Okay.
Let me tell y'all something. That's the question of the day. Can these cowards who would never square up? You got to bring a gun to a fist fight, and y'all want to lead this free world. I digress. Let's go to Steve Bannon, because Steve Bannon is a white supremacist who believes that he really should run this world. And he believed it so much so that he thought that he was not going to respond to the subpoena from the United States Congress Select Committee for the January 6th investigation. He tried to ignore it. Well, they put out an indictment and he subsequently turned himself in. He had a lot to say as he was coming and going into surrender. Let's take a look at it.
Okay, hang on. They have their opinions. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be the misdemeanor from hell for Merrick Garland, Nancy Pelosi, and Joe Biden. Joe Biden ordered Merrick Garland to prosecute me from the White House lawn when he got off Marine One. And we're going to go on the offense. We're tired of playing defense. We're going to go on the offense on this and stand by. By the way, you should understand Nancy Pelosi is taking on Donald Trump and Steve Bannon. She ought to ask Hillary Clinton how that turned out from them, okay? We're going on the offense. By the way, not just Trump people and not just conservatives. Every progressive and every liberal in this country that likes freedom of speech and liberty, okay, should be fighting for this case. That's why I'm here today. For everybody, I'm never going to back down. And they took on the wrong guy this time, okay? Got the Hispanics coming on our side, African Americans coming on our side. We're taking down the Biden regime. Every day the focus, you got Raheem Jassam today, you got Dr. Peter Navarro, Captain Bannon. You're going to have Boris Epstein, the whole show. Intense. We got polling out, economic data out, everything. I want you guys to stay focused, stay on message. Remember, signal, not noise. This is all noise. That's signal. Thank you very much.
Who is this clown, bro?
This is Donald Trump's top dog. He was in the White House with Donald Trump for I don't know exactly how long. I don't want to put a time length, but he had to leave the White House. When he left the White House, he started his movement. His movement is an international movement. He's a part of it. And they are all right-wing Kyle Rittenhouses. It is a brotherhood of international fascists. Let's call them Biff. They're a bunch of Biffs. And they believe that they have the right to dictate the world order. I kid you not. Steve Bannon believes at a spiritual level that he has, and his lineage and his people, the pasty bunch, have the authority to dictate the entirety of humanity. And this is why he speaks with the level of conviction where he feels as though he is, I don't know, some whiter Luther King. I don't know exactly who he thinks he is. But the gag is this. He's just a crusty, mediocre white dude who actually just got lucky and rode his train up with Donald Trump. And he's trying to extend his 15 minutes of fame, but he's doing so by using January 6th. He does need to answer for what happened on January 6th. He played a critical role in it. He was the radio show. He was the podcast. He was the beckoning call. Like Charlie Kirk sponsored 80 buses to go to this man's event. And then he said that he didn't want to talk to the Congress about it. And so now he's like, he's being persecuted. Oh, little Steve Bannon. He is a proverbial Martin Luther King and being persecuted by this big bad regime because he participated and helped orchestrate January 6th.
Wow. Brothers.
It's deep.
You leaving me speechless today, bro. Man.
Deep. We've been out here fighting these demons for a little bit, man. I've known about Steve Bannon for quite some time, and it all does connect together, man. It connects with the Kyle Rittenhouse. Absolutely. He's one of Kyle Rittenhouse's biggest supporters, and it also connects with January 6th. I want to skip to the right-wing watch, David. I want to show you there's a couple of black people, though. Here's what's happening. This next one is kind of funny. Here's what happens when you are a black person who thinks that you can make allegiance with these white supremacists. Here is Pastor Mark Burns. He's preaching a sermon at an event. It's the same event we covered yesterday, the one where Michael Flynn was at Cornerstone in Texas, John Hagee's church. Black pastor shows up and he really preached. You know, black preachers, you give us a microphone, or give them rather.
Yeah.
You give black preachers microphones. They know how to really get into it. Let's watch that clip. And then I want to show you what happens when you're a black person who thinks that you could be a colleague with white supremacy. Here's clip one.
So you're telling me you want to get rid of Donald, you want to get rid of Joe Biden, you want Donald J. Trump to come back right now? Shout yeah! Y'all need to look those cameras in the face and let the best president of the whole entire world know that you don't want him to come back later, you want him to come back right. Shout now! Now! Now!
Bruh.
Oh man, that was great. What is your reaction first, James, before I give you even more?
A bunch of white supremacy with a little chocolate covering on it. You like that one, didn't you, bro?
Chocolate covered white supremacy.
Chocolate covered white supremacy.
Milk dud of white supremacy.
You are giving us bald headed brothers a bad name, brother.
I'm black on the outside, but deep down within, I'm really just a redneck.
Why would you do that? You about to make me spit all the coffee over everything.
But it gets better, James.
Oh, God.
Because did you know he was a Kappa?
Ooh, really?
No, not really. He just lied about being one, and we got the receipts. Run the clip.
Attend North Greenville University?
I did attend North Greenville University.
Did you graduate from North Greenville University?
No, I didn't complete the degree at North Greenville University.
Okay. Again, the bio that's on your website claims that you earned a Bachelor of Science degree. Did you make that claim?
I asked you just a moment ago as we were just opening up this, and first of all, I said that we were off the record.
I didn't agree to that.
Yeah, but I did.
We're still rolling. I'm still asking you questions on the record. Did
I'm off
you
the
make
record.
that claim that you
I'm
graduated from North
because
Greenville
I think
University?
this is not fair that this is not fair at all. This is not what I agreed to. I thought we were doing a
This
profile.
some good tea
and all of a
this
sudden
morning.
You're here to try to destroy my character.
I'm not
and
coming here
that's
to
not the
destroy your
case.
character. These are claims that were made on your website that was live while you were speaking at the Republican National Convention. My question is, are those claims accurate?
The Trump campaign hasn't responded. Pastor Burns has just a short time ago. He put out a statement that reads in part, quote, "As a young man starting my church in Greenville, South Carolina, I overstated several details of my biography because I was worried I wouldn't be taken seriously as a new pastor. This was wrong. I wasn't truthful then, and I have to take full responsibility for my actions." He continues, "I do also want to set the record straight about why this attack is happening, because I am a black man supporting Donald Trump for president. For too long," he says, "African-American votes have been taken for granted by Democratic politicians, and enough is enough. It's a shame that the political insiders and the media choose to attack me because I'm not going to stay silent about Hillary Clinton's pandering to our community."
So, yeah.
At least we had another ball brother that stuck up for us and took like, hey, so your bio said that that's not okay, cool.
He lied about being in a fraternity, man. He lied about graduating, and he lied about all that stuff. Let's see, brother, you ain't got to be a part of no fraternity. I'm not a part of no fraternity, man.
Right.
You ain't got to have graduated. I dropped out of college like twice before I went back and got all the degrees.
Okay.
So it ain't about, you just ain't had to lie. But when you got to support white supremacy, you're going to have to sustain. Oh, I love when David knows what's coming next. Play this again, because you cannot possibly preach this and not live a life full of lies. Pastor Burns, run the clip.
So you're telling me you want to get rid of Donald, you want to get rid of Joe Biden, you want Donald J. Trump to come back right now?
He's preaching the gospel of Donald Trump.
Y'all need to look those cameras in the face and let the best president of the whole entire world know that you don't want him to come back later. You want him to come back right
now. Hey, man.
Shout now! Now!
N-N-N-E-E-O-O-W.
E-R. Oh, John Hagee, why would you let your church be used like that? My God, today.
Man.
Ooh, man, I think we need a new character on the show. We need a name. What would we call this pastor? Pastor Prophets. I don't know. Somebody had to come up with a name, because we're gonna have to revisit this character. But Pastor Burns, whatever. He tried it. All right.
It's hilarious, because here it is. The gag is, this is what the gag is. The whole gag is, this is a black man. Okay, he know that if he try to go teach on the black side with his credentials, which are non-existent, they ain't gonna let him go. See, he know that he go and step his ass in a white church, they ain't gonna check his credentials. Let me say I graduated from here. I got my theological degree from here. Yeah, I'm good to go. And these white people gonna eat it up, because you see he slipped up.
And you not on the plantation of the Democratic Party? You like Donald Trump?
Plantation?
Oh man, we'll write you a $10,000 check right now.
Oh right. Like, oh, you like Donald? Oh my gosh, yes, come preach at my church, please. They love this stuff. They gonna eat all of this up.
Bro, it's nothing for these churches to drop $30,000 on an honorarium for somebody like that. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of black folks who struggling in poverty who might be like, I appreciate all this revolution stuff, Ben, but I need to go over here and get this kind of check Mark Burns is getting.
Exactly.
Y'all gonna preach that kind of sermon?
Right. And you did hear him slip up when he's talking about you want the best president in the world, Joe Biden, Donald Trump. Oh yeah. We know what your intentions is.
Hey, listen, one last thing before we get ready to go to a break for Like It or Not. Shout out and solidarity with our boys over there. Sorry, that's me, the patriarchy in me. To all of our friends over in Alabama, Bessemer, Alabama, they may get a second chance at unionizing. We were following the Bamazonians, and it looks as though that last effort was sabotaged so blatantly that they may very well get a second chance at unionizing all of the Amazon workers there in Alabama. Let's take a listen to this clip really quick.
Oh, wow.
Amazon Union Round 2, Amazon warehouse workers in Bessemer, Alabama may get a second chance to vote on whether to form the company's first unionized warehouse in the country. A federal labor official has found that Amazon's anti-union campaign tainted an election held this past spring sufficiently enough to scrap its results altogether. The official is recommending a do-over of the unionization vote. A regional director from the National Labor Relations Board is expected to rule within weeks on whether to schedule a new election. Back in April, the facility's workers voted more than 2-1 against unionizing. It was a stinging defeat in what was by far the biggest and most high-profile union push among Amazon's U.S. workers. The effort attracted nationwide attention and even elicited the support of President Biden. Ahead of the vote, Biden specifically took aim at Amazon's anti-organizing tactics.
There should be no intimidation, no coercion, no threats, no anti-union propaganda.
Amazon Union.
So there you have it, man. These corporations are very proficient at talking workers out of what's in their best interest. Let's just be clear. I don't care what color you are, black, white, indigo. I don't care. Unions are in your best interest. They just are. When you're fighting, there's no way you as an individual can fight up against these monstrosities that are these mega corporations that can send Jeff Bezos into space because he decided that he wanted to do the next weekend, right? You can't fight that by yourself. You got to unionize. And these companies have gotten really good. I want you to watch this next clip before we go to break. This is a clip from Starbucks. Starbucks sent this out to their franchisees, and they sent it out to show them how to address the question of unionizing. And this is illegal, but if no one is going to actually, let me state it like this. This walks the fine line. Look at how they finesse the fine line of legality, because it is illegal for these corporations to discourage unionizing. I have to repeat that. It is illegal for these corporations to discourage unionizing, but this is how Starbucks skated it. And they used a black woman to get it done. Run the clip.
Hey there, partners. Tatiana here. I am a proud 9-year Starbucks partner. And you know, here at Starbucks, your voice has always mattered. And the days ahead will be no different. So let's talk about it. Partners, you're going to be faced with a very difficult decision. Do you wish to continue to have your voice used independently? Or do you want your voice to be represented by a union? Because that's exactly what the NLRB is asking you. So we want to make sure that every single voice is heard and every partner has voted. So with that being said, our commitment to you is to make sure you know exactly what to do for the NLRB mail-in ballot. So without further ado, let's get into it. The ballot has 2 choices. Vote no if you want to continue your direct relationship with Starbucks and pay no dues to the union. Vote yes if you want to pay dues and have a union represent you. Place an X in the box of your choice and make no other marks on the ballot. This vote is personal and it's private. It's a secret ballot. So don't let anyone make the decision for you. Your voice matters.
Thanks, Tatiana, for teaching us, and we're ready to go. Partners, MK here. Thank you so much for participating and watching this video. I'm here today to make sure that you hear from me that I want each of your voices to be heard. I'm asking you to vote, and I'm asking you to vote no, because I believe that we together can create Starbucks experience like nowhere else. Because we will work shoulder to shoulder and create something that all of you are ready for. And I'll be here with you. If you're not sure that you want union representing you and speaking for you, vote no.
I didn't realize the well went so deep and that they got so blatant with their anti-union messaging. And the video froze up there a little bit, but in the actual full footage, they show the union card and marked it X. And this is what they're distributing to all of their partners. Here it is. They're distributing this to all of their partners. And this is being distributed down to their workers. Now, it skates the fine line of legality, but it doesn't hurt when you got bureaucrats who are not really paying attention to it. They look away. Now, Joe Biden said in that last clip that we listened to that we don't want any of these shenanigans, but they keep doing it. And they keep getting better at it, and they keep putting more black faces on it. And they put a woman face on it. Like they will use any. They don't care what intersection you live on. They want to bust your union before it even gets started. But James, like you know this, man. You know this world, man. You've been out here. You know these unions, and you know how they're not all great. But at the same time, man, when you're going up against something like Amazon, you need some backing. So
yeah, excuse me, one of those things where you definitely gotta research your stuff, man, and see what it is. I remember one of my older companies, it was like, I guess there was talk of unionizing within the company, and it was like, it's really weird because it's so many different levels, and you have so many different people coming to you or coming at you from an employee standpoint and from a manager standpoint. So here it is, as an employee, they're like, okay, people are going to be passing stuff out to you about unions. So it's like, it's this secret thing, almost like a secret code or secret society.
Yeah.
On the management standpoint of it for the company, it's like, hey, don't accept any mail from anybody. If anybody comes up to you with a sealed envelope, don't accept the envelope. It was so much, bro. It's just like, bro, I just don't want to talk about none of that. I'm good, because it's just like, if I open this envelope, then I'm agreeing that we may be interested in the union. And once that envelope is open, then we can now start having public discussions and start doing this. And now I'm just like, bro, I ain't touching shit. I'm good.
And they make it such a, and here's the thing, man, what we're talking about, you can run that B-roll again, David, because I want to make sure I don't think I said this. This is specifically about stores in Buffalo, New York, trying to unionize, but you understand, like, the Tatiana portion is what the corporate sends out. That's the top stamp. And then the second portion, that's the local, their owner. In other words, corporate is in league with the local store owners, right? They don't want you to unionize because that means that there would be collective bargaining. That means that people would be on your side trying to make sure that you get benefits, make sure that you get overtime. You know how many people, well, I don't even have to ask you, I know you know, how many people are being forced to work overtime because of pressure from their managers, and they don't get paid overtime. That's because they don't have a union. If that's happening to you on your job, y'all need a union. And you know who else needs a union? We'll talk about it in the after party. Anyway, I digress. James, get me off the camera, man.
Right.
Let's go to break. Let's go to break. When we come back, like it or not, Rebecca Azor is in the building. Hey, we'll be back after this.
Song. Right. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. We got Rebecca Azor joining us momentarily. In the meantime, we're going to get to some good music and get our new patrons read off as well, too, y'all. So y'all stay tuned. Let's get into it.
Just give it up. I'm not your girl and I never will be. Don't call me up.
She said, call me up. I'm not your girl and never will be. All right, y'all. New patrons. We have Bartlett Ferguson, Howard J., and Billy Bailey Boo. Good morning, y'all. Thank y'all again for joining. New Twitch subscribers. We have JN Lee 1981 who gifted us a subscription to Progressive J-Log. And also new Twitch subscribers, we have Red Orchid 99 who resubscribed. Postal Winch gifted 1 community subscription. And Silver Knight Dragon cheered 100 bits. And also don't forget Old Man House Phone. Join the line Patreon as well too, man. Thank y'all again so much. We greatly appreciate y'all. If you need to, patreon.com/likeItOrNot, patreon.com/likeItOrNot, or patreon.com/thebpd. So y'all make sure that y'all go in and join, man. And shout out to Tasia for the $50 super chat saying for the bail fund because you know it's coming. Hell yes, we do. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. We got more coming up next. Like it or not.
When I'm alone, nothing can stop me. You should go out, meet someone else, someone who gets you. Don't stick around.
All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. We're going to get into this real quick. But before we do, I bought some shoes from a drug dealer because, y'all, I'm a nice person. I like to do certain things for everybody. So I saw a person. I'm like, all right, I'm buying these shoes from you. They from a drug dealer or whatever. And I don't know what he had them laced with, but I've been tripping all day. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, Rebecca Azor is coming through. You know she got a good story for you. Oh, when I get into work, I immediately hide. Good employees are hard to find. No. This is his show. He's a politics bro. I am DJ exclusive. Y'all know I am. I stay dropping them jams. All right, y'all. It's time for the time. Like it going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not, it's good morning, Lily. Good morning, Rosie Beans. Happy birthday, Rosie Beans. Mama, happy birthday. Good morning. It's about to go down.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Oh, I am out of focus. Good morning, good afternoon, good day.
Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth.
And not care who doesn't like it. You guys see my Christmas stuff on the floor. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And you are mad out of focus.
Yeah,
Today is
this
Tuesday.
ain't too bad. It's,
My
little
God.
blurry. It's like the little retro Instagram filter or something. It's kind of cute, but you know.
Look,
There you
let
go.
me go get my background together.
Girl. What the hell just happened?
It is Tuesday, November 16th, 2021. Thanks for joining us. I'm not entirely sure what just happened, but I'm sure she got it together.
Because Christmas threw up on my floor. I was trying to feed Lucy in the background, spray down the perimeters because this is when the bugs come out. And that stuff was on the floor. Haven't put up my Christmas stuff yet. Lucy's my plant. My back
the
door.
bugs. I thought the bugs would be gone by now. It's
Oh,
cold
no,
enough.
sweetie.
Oh no,
Not
they
where I
trying to
live
find
over
some
here in the
more.
mountains.
Yeah, over here too.
Ooh, they all dead in my neighborhood. Well, anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Your
I
neighborhood has a
digress.
little bit of sunlight and a little breeze over here. We're still in the mountains. But good morning, everybody. How are you?
Looking over there, looking like Harley Quinn.
Who's
Right.
looking like
Two-Faced.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I
Let's
thought you
put
were
down
talking about my
the-
hair,
yeah.
my outfit.
No.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's been so crazy.
You got a
this
story to
morning.
tell?
How are you guys? I've missed you. I feel like I haven't been here in ages.
Right.
You haven't.
No, I was here on Friday.
Oh, that's right. You were.
Yeah.
We missed you yesterday.
And they could see me
we
on
understand.
Friday.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this before I forget. I was editing a video yesterday. I don't know why, because David really does all the work. So I have no idea why I was touching a video. But Lizzie walked up and you were on the screen. You had your hair, you had your real big hair, one of those videos. And she said, "Oh my gosh, she's so pretty." And I was like, you know what? I got to tell my sister.
Well, Thank you, Lizzie. Look, I haven't seen her in ages, but she looked like her mama. She's beautiful. I'm just kidding, man. She looks just like you too.
No, she looks like her mama.
Lizzie's gorgeous. When I first saw her, I was like, dang, Ben gonna have some issues. You know what I'm saying? She gonna have some issues because she's beautiful. But I'm glad that little Black girls can see Black women in these spaces and think, wow, this is somebody who represents me. This is a beautiful woman. So I appreciate that. I love when the kids can see you. I love when people who matter see you. So that was.
And then I said, what about me? How do I look? She didn't say anything. She just walked off.
I said, like my brothers.
She just walked off. My kids are deadly, man. I feel sorry for whoever. I'm not gonna have to worry about fighting none of my daughter's peoples because she be drop kicking me every other day. So she just roll up on me and hit me. I'm glad underneath all of this cushion I got a 6-pack because she roll up on me and just kicked me in my chest the other day, and I'm like, wow. I feel sorry.
She's your baby girl, so she feels like she can
300 kick
jump on you and climb
Bro,
you.
no,
Sparta!
Bro, she caught me off guard, and I'm like, okay, I might actually, I could take a punch then, because she kicked the crap out of me, and she better be glad she my sweet pea, because anyway, but she's a fan of yours, Rebecca, for sure.
I thank you for that. That really means a lot to me. So thank you for that.
I have no idea what's on the docket. I guess I could mosey on over to this document that our producers, shout out, they put in so much work getting us ready every single day. I don't want to bring the joy down.
Man, I'll be getting lost.
It's like reading these documents is like reading hieroglyphics sometimes.
Yeah,
that's how I feel getting into it sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
True, especially when we all the way at the bottom, and I'm like,
okay,
who this?
Can we get a separate tab or maybe a separate?
We got color codes. Listen,
I'll be trying to find. I'm like, what the hell am I looking at? I don't know.
We should do a screen share of what our document looks like one day, so that we have color codes.
Ben, you can't put everyone in everything that we do. Some things got to be left a secret.
Well, maybe we should do it for the patrons though.
Patreon.com/like it or not if you'd like to get access to the brilliance.
Even then,
Rebecca,
do we have anything for ourselves? I love our patrons, and I feel like they get a lot of. Look what we do already on air. It's a lot. So no, yeah, because y'all gonna see a lot of crazy in the background. So I'm like, let's just keep it cute, keep it,
keep the curtains. Don't let them see what's behind the curtain too much.
Right,
okay.
They already seeing what's behind the curtains. We don't need to see behind curtains. Yeah. So.
Okay, then they don't need to see how the sausage is made. That said, Rebecca, you got the helm.
The helmet, the helm,
the helm. You're in charge.
Whatever that means.
Oh my gosh, it's like ship terms, like the helm, the captain, the helm of the ship.
Yeah. You're the captain, Captain.
Didn't know.
She's still looking like.
No, I'm really trying to gather my information on here, but I know that yesterday TV did stream for
that's right
a Haitian. I'm trying to get to it. Let me make sure I got this correct because I was just looking at it. Haitian Hero. They did a panel which featured people that I know. Wanda of L'Union Suite, and the Haitian Bridge, Gerline M. Joseph Wood, who we put her content on here when all the Texas border asylum seekers started going viral and started making headlines. Gerline was one of the first people and one of the only people that main media was using to have that conversation. We're talking main media, CNN, MSNBC, all those networks. And we used some of her content on our channel as well. She is over Haitian Bridge Alliance, and Ancito Etienne, who is a Haitian journalist, as well as Jimmy Jean Lewis, who we know, that fine Haitian actor, brother Jimmy Jean Lewis. But they all had a conversation.
I didn't know. I know.
Yeah.
fine.
So yesterday they all had a conversation about Haiti, ways to help Haiti, what the diaspora can do, their experiences as immigrants and products of immigrants, because they want to. And thanks and shouts out to Haitian Hero and Act TV, who we're partnered with as well, for pushing this conversation, keeping it going, because it's very important that we continue the conversation about Haiti instead of putting it in the back of our minds and allowing mainstream media, people who are not Haitian at all, to lead this conversation. So yesterday they were having this conversation. There's a few clips I want to touch on, so that we can discuss. One of those clips starting off with Jimmy Jean Lewis. I apologize, guys. My throat was dry as hell. Jimmy Jean Lewis, who
it's the weather change.
It can be. Jimmy Jean Lewis, who yeah, you got, see, look at that. My Haitian influence is spreading. It is spreading. They know that.
James says you can't take credit for all of that Haitian influence, but go ahead.
Now that
wait a goddamn minute. Rebecca, did you just see that?
I did.
That was real. That was
Haitian
real
by
cute for him.
association. Haitian by association, and that's all right.
That's real
I
cute
pay
for him.
attention. I pay attention.
I don't know if James was ready, but I was ready. I said, it's ready. I don't know. But no, seriously.
That's my pearls.
That's him. I had to wait and see what
Rebecca
reaction I was going to get. So
did I push the envelope? I did. If I push the envelope too much, I'll be calling you afterwards apologizing.
No, you didn't, because you
I
kept
might as well
it
apologize now.
Let
me go ahead and apologize now, because if I pushed it too far, I'll be calling you as soon as the show is over.
No,
Rebecca, let me shut up.
You kept it like, you good, right?
Okay,
Sorry,
go ahead, Rebecca. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
As I was saying, the Haitian influence from me and my fellow Haitian by association brother, DJ XPC, it's there. When I cough, if I'm choking, instead of coming over and do the Heimlich maneuver, whatever that word is, but instead of doing the process that they teach you here in America, just and you will be healed. You will be healed. But no, yesterday, Act TV Partners in Health facilitated a conversation again with Jimmy Jean Lewis, Wanda Tima, who I know of L'Union Suite. Shouts out to Wanda, Gerline Joseph, and of the Haitian Bridge Alliance, and Ancito Etienne on health and human rights in Haiti. But it was just more than that conversation as well. They had a conversation, to me, that spread into the realms of being a product of immigrants in the diaspora, what the negative parts, the negative connotations of being someone who's part of the diaspora, and somebody who was not only in America as an immigrant, but somebody who was in Europe as an immigrant. So to hear those stories and how we can do better as Haitian Americans who sometimes also get it wrong in leading the conversation. So let's take a look at this first clip of Jimmy Jean Lewis talking about the diaspora.
The word diaspora is something that is both negative and positive. Depends on how you look at it and where you look at it from. We can easily say that we're all from the diaspora. Whether you're here, Americans born here because you left your continent, Africa, whether it's Haitians living here because they live Haiti, and yes, I am part of that group of people who was not forced, but deeply encouraged to leave Haiti for the search of a better life. Not me directly, but my parents before me, and then me. And as every single Haitian living in Haiti, it seems to be the direction where everybody's going to. They all want to leave Haiti because they think that being outside of Haiti is much better than being in Haiti. So when you know the differences between being in Haiti and outside of Haiti, then you kind of try to not only understand, sympathize with the people in Haiti, and also see how you can potentially help, how you can bridge that gap between us seen as diaspora and the Haitians living in Haiti.
Yes. So yeah, it is dope. He is dope. Jimmy Jean Lewis is dope. That's what
Rebecca, real quick before we move too fast, I do want to give a shout out to the partners. David, if you don't mind dropping that lower third so that we can show that it was facilitated by Partners in Health, and they are a Boston-based nonprofit healthcare organization, and they facilitated this yesterday. Shout out to them for pulling this together because you have many more clips. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yes, and not only health, the Partners in Health, which shouts out to them for real. Drop that lower third again. The Haitian Bridge Alliance, which we know Gerline Joseph is a part of, but the Barbancourt Foundation. If you guys hear me say Barbancourt a lot on here, that is our Haitian rum. That is the rum of Haiti, and they have a foundation that they also are, which they do a lot of great things for Haiti themselves, and would love to bring the Barbancourt dispensary and everything that where it's made back into Haiti. So we're working on that. But and L'Union Suite is one of the go-to Haitian media, social media channels. Okay, on Instagram, on Facebook, they're the Haitian. They're the Haitian American, and shouts out to them because they've been doing this since it wasn't popular. They've been holding this conversation for Haitian Americans like me, for us to move forward, continue having the conversations, and to push out the correct narratives, not the ones that we see on where Haiti is, the poorest, when we're actually the richest in our history, the richest in our production, what we have in our land and in our people. We are that. We are that. And we're a product of greatness out of Africa. So shouts out to L'Union Suite for holding it down, and just showing us that our blackness isn't just a monolith. We are all types of black, and we should be respected that way as well. So, anywho, what Jimmy Jean Lewis was talking about, and when it comes to the diaspora, there is negative connotation when it's attached to it, right? What we hear a lot of times is people from the diaspora, the black people from the diaspora, who are products of it. A lot of our stories have been like, man, some growing pains, man, like, to get where we're at now as products of the diaspora, and being a part of it. But also when you say you are from there, a lot of people just consider you to be, oh, she's an immigrant, he's an immigrant, that's it, and they don't speak English and go back to where you come from. We get those too. And a lot of that also goes into the system. A lot of health, a lot of jobs don't come to us. A lot of healthcare doesn't come to us. A lot of that conversation is built around being a product of immigrants, being a part of the diaspora. Also being a part of the diaspora, I will say, we don't get it right as well. Being people who are Americans or outside of Haiti, growing up outside of Haiti, we don't get it right as well. And many times we have the conversation, our information isn't correct. And that's why I say it's important for us to really reach back to our journalists and our people and our media who is on the ground to help us facilitate the conversation correctly and to see what people actually need and to see what the story actually is. Because sometimes we can follow the stories right here in America as well and get it wrong and think, oh, we're Haitian and we know, and get it 100% wrong. Just like when we started collecting for Haiti, and they had to tap in on the ground and say, hey, I know y'all sending this, but let's hold off on that because we can cook for ourselves. What we really need is tents. These are the things that we need. We need water purification tablets because that's going to help us. Those are the things that we were learning very quickly on this recent time with the story surrounding the earthquake. So that was.
But I mean, it's good that you guys are willing to. Somebody got to be able to correct you. You know what I mean? You can't, no matter how much good you're doing, everybody needs a chin check every now and then. There's nothing wrong with that because it makes you better.
Yeah. So in this next clip, I really want to play the same person, which is Jimmy Jean Lewis, who is an actor. And you guys have probably seen him in different movies. I believe he was that one movie with, what's her name from the Parkers, the lead from the Parkers, and I don't know why I'm not getting her name right now.
Oh,
who they tried to cancel? No, her mom.
Monique.
Monique.
Yeah,
Yes, I know what I
Monique.
was thinking. But in that movie with them, and he was the love interest in that one movie with them on the island. I forget, is it Beauty Shop?
Is this
Fat
the one
Girls.
where
It's Fat
yeah.
Girls?
Okay.
and
Yeah,
then
it's the one.
also
Okay, so
he
it's the one
was-
where the premise. Go ahead.
I'm about to say he's also in Heroes. He was the actually his name was the Haitian, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
In Heroes, and he has the ability, I think, to stop everybody's powers. Heroes is like also a superhero, kind of like, so that was on NBC years ago. But yeah, he was one of those guys. That's where I remember him from. I saw the name, like, oh, I know him.
And he's
one of my faves.
when we
Yeah.
see him, we're like, he's ours. Look at us. Look at
Yeah,
us. Representation.
that's real.
We are not just poor people that look at us. We got great things coming out of our country. So yeah, we always we'll pull him anytime we can. But in this next conversation that he had, he talks about growing up in Europe and being in Paris and going on a field trip. And this is the first time that he realized that he was Haitian.
I've been impacted by being an immigrant myself. First time where I really realized that I was not just Black, but I was also Haitian. It was going to school in Paris. I was probably 13 or 14 when there was a time where my school was going from France to England, and in that year, because of AIDS, out of all the kids that were going to England, I was the only one that was asked to do an AIDS test. So straight away, I knew I was Haitian. And with that, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with that? Let me recognize who I am and move with that.
You guys understand, as a 13-year-old growing up in the where racism literally just birthed itself and tried to bring itself over here. But in Europe, and knowing that at the age of 13, you're going on a field trip as a child, and an AIDS test is presented to you. An AIDS test is presented to you, the only person. And you knew back then, because we know that whole shakedown in Brooklyn when they shook down, the Haitians shook down the Brooklyn Bridge, I believe in the early 90s, late 80s, where they shook down the Brooklyn Bridge because of that conversation of Haiti having AIDS, Haiti being the product of AIDS, Haiti bringing AIDS into the U.S., Haiti being the creator of AIDS, which is such a lie, which is misinformation. But even to know that it was in other countries at the time as well. And this 13-year-old knew about that conversation and was literally the only kid to take an AIDS test just so he can go to Europe. That's a time when he said something key. Not only did I know I was Black, I knew I was Black, but that's when I realized I was Haitian. Haitian. Because they single, and I say this all the time, when it comes to Black immigrants, something about being an African immigrant, when it comes to the Caribbean, specifically an Haitian immigrant, it's just the bottom of the bottom. They make sure that you are treated as such. When we see white immigrants come into this country, we have the conversation, or in other countries too, or even the lighter brown immigrants. There is a treatment that is.
Rebecca froze.
She did.
Boy, at first I was like, did I do something?
Right. She get into it. She's like, oh, wait, was it a pregnant pause? No. My sister disappeared.
Whoa, wait a minute. So we give her a second to reset her internet, which is charge it to the family internet. But she was dissecting the hell out of that thing there.
She was breaking that thing down for real.
Yeah. And I hate to move so abruptly from it, but we'll give it to her when she comes back to pick up right there. Let's take a look at where we are on our time. I want to play one clip before we to give Rebecca some time to get back.
Yeah.
James, do you know of a guy named Milo Yiannopoulos?
No, I can't say that I do. Milo,
he is
Milo.
Milo Yiannopoulos. He is a right winger. I don't know. I guess he's just. Let's just say if any of these people like Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk get on your nerves, Milo Yiannopoulos was about 5 or 10 times worse than all of them. And he was a conservative Republican, but he was also gay. And I say was gay because now he says he's seen the light and he's going through some conversion. And now he's selling, in order to make ends meet, because he got canceled, he's selling Catholic ornaments and trinkets. I want to play the clip because when I tell you there's not really many people out here who have done more damage to marginalized people, including the LGBTQ community. Your camera went out. This is a good place as any to run the clip. Milo Yiannopoulos is one of those people. This is where the mighty have fallen. Take a look at this clip.
So it's 11 3/4 inches tall. If you're thinking about how this is going to fit into your shrine or maybe even a bedside table. I know sometimes people like to wake up and say good morning to their favorite, people and saints and whatnot. It's available in bronze and pewter, and they're both $87.50. We're not yet set up for 2 easy payments, despite our.
Not yet. We're not quite there.
But we're hoping to offer that one day, or 2 easy payments. But she's just under 12 inches tall. She's available in those 2 different. They call them accent finishes. We've got statues in the shop here that are fully painted.
Right.
And we'll see some of those later.
Yes.
But the thing I like about this is this wonderful burnished, bronzy, aged color that she's got. And it's wonderful. The face on this is especially good because
The face is wonderful. It's so peaceful.
I hope you know what I mean when I say there are good Marys and bad Marys. Of course, the real Mary, there's only good things about her. But there are some Marys where the face is a little unfortunate. They haven't put the work in to make sure that she's got just the right expression and features.
Right.
This, on the other hand, as you can see at home, it's just beautiful.
I'm sorry. This is my first time seeing the clip. Rebecca, welcome back. We're going to let you get back to Haiti in about 2.25 seconds. Matter of fact, go ahead and go back to Haiti now because I got to unpack this a little too much. And I know you got a hard out coming up here shortly. So welcome back, and you can take it from there.
No, I apologize, guys, and definitely, I don't know what was happening there. I didn't know that there was different kinds. Well, no, I did. But I will talk about that later.
It's too much to unpack. We'll let you go for a second.
But no, where I ended was just how Haitian immigrants are treated at the bottom of the barrel, as we've seen here in America. But not only here in America, we heard Jimmy Jean Lewis's account of growing up and how age was attached to Haitians. They needed to stick it to somebody, and they needed to stick it to the disease on somebody, a group of people who to them are less than. And for us, it's like Haitians have to pay for every day of their lives for their freedom, for rebelling, for being the first Black country to rebel and win, and the free first Black republic in the world. We're talking about the world, okay? The world. And that's from the chains of our slave owners, and we don't play that, right? And that's why I'm allergic to slavery. That's just my DNA. That's in my DNA. I don't like. That's why I don't like my job. But and so I say this to say, but no, immigrants, Haitian immigrants, and America has even taught Black people who look just like us, growing up, to, if they, you're American and stand separate. They even have a systemic way of doing that separation amongst people of the diaspora and just, Black Americans, and only to grow up and have a conversation with my fellow Americans. My best friend is a Black American. Ben, you are. A DJ X3C, you are. Like, and for us to have the conversation and really see, it's America that pit us against each other. Black people, and what they wanted to make you understand is that you're different. You're the type of Black that's different. You're the good Black. You're American Black. And that other Black, even though they was born in America, it's not the same as you. It's not the same as you. They're coming to steal your
divide
job.
and conquer.
Yes. So the same conversations that we hear them telling us as a whole, that we hear them telling immigrants, period, they want for Black Americans to do the same thing. They want that. And that's what it is. Divide and conquer. And that is where, I'm glad that we have these platforms so that we can have the conversations and realize that is not the case. Hey, we understand that when we walk outside, Black, that's all they see. It's Black. And we get disrespected already with that. Now they want us to be disrespected again for being immigrants. We just get disrespected all across the board. And that's why I say, I think because being the first free Black republic in the world, that we should be honored as such. And if they're not going to honor us, we're going to honor us. And it should be part of critical race theory about the true the true story of Haitians and the true story of when Christopher Columbus settled in Haiti, right? And what he actually did there. Read that book, guys. The lies my teacher told me, and you'll definitely hear the account, and you'll be enlightened to know the truth. But with that being said, the next clip that I wanted to pull up on is Wanda of L'Union Suite. You guys head over to Instagram and follow L'Union Suite if you want all your things Haitian outside of the stories that are just, oh, look what's happening in Haiti, fires, death, all that stuff. There are actually good stories and good content and beautiful photos coming out of Haiti that they actually exist. But she actually holds a conversation about how Haitians are perceived in the media. Let's take a look.
We're not just the poorest this and the poorest that. We're not just, the 15 or 30-second clips you see on CNN and these other media platforms where something is going on and it trends for a week or two and then it disappears. We're more than that. Like, yes, we have all these things going on in our country, but we have people like Gerline, like she said, that's on the ground doing the work. There's entertainment figures like Jimmy, that is Haitian, that's, winning awards and doing the things that he's doing. A lot of times when people talk about Haitian, you're only hearing the negative. You have everyday heroes, everyday Haitians that's breaking records, making history in all these different areas. And a lot of times because it doesn't say Haitian, it just says Black, a lot of people don't know these are our people. Like, these are people that grew up in, small towns and rural towns in Haiti that have gone on, immigrants that's gone on to do these amazing things. And I feel like it's become my responsibility to make sure that we are forever not just saying we're Black this, we're Black that, but what that means. We're keeping the information in the media. We're sharing the everyday stories. We're sharing.
Yep. And that's exactly what I was just discussing. That is, shoot, that's my duty. Even if I'm not here on our channel every day discussing Haiti, on my, my Twitter, I'm sharing a story, maybe positive, maybe something that's going on now, on my stories on Instagram, because if you follow me, you will know, right? Because we're going to have to, that is our job. I think all of us who are coming from the diaspora when it comes to Haiti, just like all of us, even me, who is American here, it's our duty, for you guys who are here with me to share our Black history, because even Black American history is at the bottom when it's people are scared of it.
That's right.
They're afraid of it. So it's our duty to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because my kids that I'm going to have one day, my little big head kids, they are going to know their history correctly, where they come from. They're going to know that it's time for Haiti to throw out them damn books talking about Christopher Columbus discovered Haiti. They're giving to the kids. They're going to know the truth about being Black and the beauty, not only our history of living in slave homes, which is a part of our history, right? But not only that, of our history of coming from kings and queens, not only our history of that, we're going to know it all through and through, from every generation to every generation.
That's right.
There's a story there. That's how beautiful being Black is. My God, it's a beautiful day to be a Black person.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
To be
it's
Black.
A beautiful day for a neighbor.
Hello. And here we have Uncito. He said something very, very important in the last clip. He said about something is going to turn around. I feel that in my shana now. Something is going to turn around when it comes to Haiti. It's and people's perceptions of Haiti because of us. Something is going to turn around. And for a long time, they had their foots on their feet on our necks. And with our history and who we are, it's like our ancestors would be confused at the way that we are living today when it comes to Haiti. But there is something so much more that's about to happen. Let's take a listen.
Okay.
That Haiti was forced to pay for its independence and the legacy of that injustice. In the second or the non-accidental events by foreign actors that have caused and not just influence Haiti's current situation. Haiti was supposed to be, as I mentioned before, a safe haven for again, all people, Black people, to seek refuge whenever they were being persecuted in whether they are affected by disasters. But what's important and very interesting is that I don't think our ancestors ever imagined that today Haitians would be seeking refuge in other lands, right? Gerlin was telling us about all the work that she's been doing. Like our ancestors could, if they were hearing that today, they would not even comprehend it. That's not the country that they had built and left behind for us. So to me, giving all this context, what I would like folks to know is that Haiti is in the process of becoming what it's always meant to be.
In the process
Oh,
of
I wish we
becoming
had
what
some
it
more of that
always
right
meant to
there.
be.
I felt that in my shining eye.
You felt that last line
Hallelujah.
too?
Yes, I'm like, get me some more. Haiti is in the. We're going to be what we always were meant to be, right? And that is what we already are, and what the rest of the world has to catch up on, because there's something that pushes us to continue to be so strong in the midst of everything that's happening. There are people on the ground that are doing work, but what the media does is only go to the places that are very, very hurt, very, very behind on times, very, very just showing people who aren't smiling, people who are devastated. Yes, our government is broken. Yes, these things are all a part of what's happening. But there is a lot that has to do with not only the media's perception in other countries of Haiti, but America's interference, Europe's interference into Haiti's business, and placing them in many places where they are forced to give up rights, give up money, or coming into the country and blindly and putting the blindfold over the Haitian people's eyes and taking from them. And that's a history that we know, even with Christopher Columbus. If we go into the history, we'll know that he documented the people of Haiti at the time, the originals on the island of Haiti when he pulled up, as people who were so nice, who wanted to give and give gold, and did this whole dinner and lunch for them. And in that time, they killed them off. They put them in chains and took their gold, took everything that they were giving them. And that's what we usually do as Haitians. But the same breath, we also are people who will fight. We will push, and we will take what's given to us. It's not that Haitians want to leave the country. The country is beautiful, but right now it is just a place that is unlivable for many in certain areas of Haiti. So telling them that the seeking refuge, seeking asylum here in America, the land of the free, which is told to them that it's the land of the free, the land of opportunity, and telling them that they need to stay in their country, go back to your land, or you don't belong here, is just a turn of events, because it's like, hey, Haiti has been a place that has assisted many other countries. If we look at a lot of Latin flags, we will see that red and that blue on the flag, because we helped a lot of countries gain their independence.
Yep.
Haiti did that. And also in the same breath, my dad has always told me this story since we were younger. There are countries in Europe, like Germany, who a lot of Germans who needed to seek refuge during the time of the Holocaust and things like that, to come over to Haiti and find safety. So there are areas on the high mountains where we'll see areas where Germans are living, or I believe the Polish or different people like that who are actually living in Haiti till this day. And yes, and that is a thing too. So there are a lot of people that you'll see with Haitians. I used to have my cousin's best friend, who we called our brother, who we were raised with, who was white, who was raised out of Haiti, and that wasn't nothing weird. It wasn't anything weird to me. But every time I would introduce them to my other Haitian friends, I'd be like, "Why is this white man speaking full Creole in your house?" Because there's history. There's history of Haiti saving his family, Haiti protecting his family from being killed off. So understand that Haiti has a lot of has helped a lot of people, has been the factor
of the United States.
Of the United States
in the Revolutionary War. There's no United States of America without Haiti.
Chicago, it wouldn't be these areas and places without Haitians influence, without Haiti itself. So, as I've said in our 2017 clip of me getting Donald Trump together, put some respect on Haiti's name. Put some respect on Haiti's name.
Oh, the other thing that Lizzie did do, she was like, she was you were talking, and she was like, she was doing the nails and everything. I'm like, okay, all right.
I'm trying to keep
Hey.
this hand down because I broke 2 nails, and I'm trying to until Thursday.
And shout out to my hating ass mama.
What's wrong?
Oh Lord.
Y'all can't see it. I'm gonna have to send the picture. Y'all.
It's coming. It was coming.
Was it?
Yeah.
Is it
up? Give it 3, 2. Okay, I give up. It's what is this? A big head white? What was it?
She texted me while I'm doing the show and said, "Bub, you got a big ass head." Shout out to my hating ass mama. Y'all show Gwen some love.
Mama Gwen.
Shout out.
Is that wait, James? If I could put it together, was that the alien from Star Trek episode 1?
You know, dude, that's who it looked like. It's some old white
Lord of
man.
the Rings.
No,
it was one of those two.
I didn't know the man had a big ass head and like it looked like veins and everything running through it. I feel offended.
That's Star Trek.
Because that should have been Ben. Oh, you know what? That was an old Star Trek. Sorry, Rebecca. Good morning.
No, you're fine. I'm done with that. I
Hey,
ended with
touche.
I ended with put some respect on Haiti's name.
I had to clutch some pearls myself this morning just now, James.
Payback.
Touche.
I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it.
Let's go to Alex Jones. He said it should have been Ben. Talk about that. Here's Alex Jones guilty on all 4 Sandy Hook cases. I hope we don't have to explain who Alex Jones is. But if we do, take a listen at this clip from Anderson Cooper, who spoke with one of the attorneys for the Sandy Hook families. Remember, that was the shooting that took so many lives from young babies. Alex Jones has been denying it, and now he's got to pay the price. Here's a clip.
Major legal victory for 8 Connecticut families and one first responder who sued InfoWars founder, noted conspiracy spreader Alex Jones. For years, Jones spread the despicable conspiracy story that the 2012 massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary School, where 6 adults and 20 children were killed, was staged. Here are the faces of the victims, young children, teachers, and the school's principal. They were very real. They were murdered. We remember them. Today, a judge ruled that Jones is liable by default in the defamation case because he repeatedly refused to hand over records to the plaintiffs. Now, a jury will decide how much he's going to have to pay the families in damages. In September, Jones was defaulted in Texas for failing to turn over documents in a similar case. Joining us now, attorney Chris Maddie, who represents the plaintiffs in the Connecticut lawsuit. Chris, I appreciate you being with us. Can you explain what liability by default means?
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Anderson. Today, what the Connecticut Superior Court determined was that because Alex Jones had engaged in a long series of misconduct and discovery abuses, he had essentially prevented the plaintiffs from getting a fair hearing, from getting the evidence that they were entitled to. And because of that, he forfeited his right to present evidence in the case in his behalf. And as a result of that, the allegations against him are considered proven. He is liable to the plaintiffs for the claims they have made against him, which include defamation, violations of Connecticut's Unfair Trade Practices Act, intentional infliction of emotional distress. And now the question for the jury will be the extent to which the families that we're honored to represent were harmed by his conduct. The evidence that he deliberately withheld was precisely the evidence that would show that he engages in outrageous, inflammatory, and dishonest rhetoric in order to drive traffic to his website so that he can profit financially.
So it's the same thing with this whole January 6th thing. They commit the crime and they just don't want to. They're like, no, we're not going to testify. Well, in this case, that means Alex Jones is going to still have to pay some money. The jury is going to figure out how much he has to pay. But I mean, Alex Jones built his entire platform off of saying those 20 babies didn't die. And so now he's going to finally have to pay for it.
And that's about time. And I know that that story has been developing for a while now, and I'm glad that we're here on it because Alex Jones, to use his platforms, like many other people have done, that we see now. That's why I got a problem with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and her conspiracy theories with some mass shootings as well. But Alex Jones these babies died.
Yeah.
He used his platform to say it was a conspiracy. And a lot of these parents had to deal with that. And I think that also washed away the actual effect, the actual shock value for people with this conversation that Alex Jones created, that it was a conspiracy theory. And back then, we didn't have social media to really go and attack in the moment, correct the misinformation. So
it was sit out there for months.
Yes, whatever he put out there, these people actually believed and walked around and carried this over into other conversations. And
threatened, Rebecca, they threatened some of these parents. Some of these parents have been threatened by his supporters.
Yep. And some of these parents took a while to even say, hey, this person has said this about the death of my child. And a lot of it just was like, it's just, whatever, it just happened. So a lot of legal things that were happening weren't even being pushed and pressed for real because they didn't think it was that serious. These people lost their children. These people lost their children. We're talking gun violence too. We're talking the conversation at the time that was trying to be brought up was, the gun violence and us doing gun reform and those conversations, but they weren't important then because of Alex Jones.
Yeah.
And those people had to every single day get online, different pages, different conversations surrounding their kids and their deaths being untrue.
That's right. That's right. And the fact that he can make a living, the fact that he can make an entire living off of defaming those babies, that means that there's that many people out there who want to hear that kind of mess.
Right.
For him to become a millionaire, a multimillionaire.
It's like selling your soul. He has no soul, bro. They don't care.
Yeah.
They'll do stuff like this and make up rhetoric like this. No soul. Hope he gets everything he deserves. But
yeah,
that's right.
Lainey Lou in the comment section said that Alex Jones is the reason for her family's divide. So
That's
even
powerful.
That
That
see
is.
what I'm saying?
That's really powerful.
We were just talking about that. These people are put in place to divide and have conversations that are at the forefront, even if they're filled with misinformation. But these conversations are created to divide here, like in the States and outside the state. But these conversations will lead because they know the platform and how a lot of people believe Alex Jones' takes are very important. The same way they believe Tucker Carlson's takes are very important because he sits on Fox News desk and he feeds you guys these lies, but because it's coming from Fox News, it's real, it's true. Now these 20 babies that lost their lives,
and this clown has made a living off of them. I hope Alex Jones. I hope he loses some weight. Because he needs to have some hungry days. Because for you to eat off of those babies' death, I think he might need to know what it's like to be hungry. Because that's some evil stuff, man. His entire and to not make it so much about him personally, we also have to take into account all the people who just they're clicking through. They want that kind of evilness. Like, what does that say about our society? That there's so many people in the world that want those kind of clicks that they will make him a star.
Let's not even go down that rabbit hole. Let's not even go down that rabbit hole, bro, because that'll be a whole show in itself. There's some sick ass people out here, bro.
That's right. That's right. Rebecca, we know you got to get out of here. We briefly touched on, we could do the rest of this in the after party. We got a couple more clips. We got to finish the conversation about Milo Yiannopoulos and he's no longer gay and he's selling religious, trinkets. That's what that was. That's what you walked in on.
Rebecca. That's what that was. Okay, I got to go.
Yeah.
But now that you say that, thank you. Because I came in late.
You remember we covered Milo a couple times.
He's still giving me sweet. He's still giving me what we call surettes.
Yes,
sweet. When you have the roll of the tongue, surettes.
Look how he's looking at the camera.
Okay,
he's breaking the fourth wall at the camera.
Yeah, listen, he's still giving that, and that's okay though. But be who you are. But if you are delivered with a T, just say that too.
Child, I'm not gay no more.
I am not gay no more.
I am delivered.
Okay.
Delivered like men's.
I like women's.
I like women.
And there's nothing wrong with that. If you like women now, you like women now. But to say that there's a certain Mother Mary because now you're a very religious person, and that you are no longer gay, and that this Mother Mary is for a specific type of Christian and a specific type of, the little trinkets and needs. It's white. It sounds about white.
Too.
White.
It's 12 inches.
And the way he's looking at it,
I'm gonna have to give you
I gotta go. I love y'all so much.
I gotta get some Rebecca. Love you, girl.
But I love you guys, and I want to make sure that you guys understand that I wanted to be here with you, but I got a job that I have to be to. So I love you guys so much. And
love you too, girl.
Do you think, sis? Appreciate you stopping through.
And no, stop trying to cut me off. Stop trying to run me off like that. I gotta finish what I gotta say. And I want you guys to definitely. It is Tuesday. I want you guys to enjoy your Tuesday. And if you can, just for me, text somebody something very disrespectful today so that when you pull up to Thanksgiving, they can catch them hands. I'm just kidding. That's what I'm
Damn.
I love you guys so much. No negativity. No nothing. I love you. Mean it. Bye. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Wait a minute. It's and then she got out of here. Or did David say to pull her ass down?
Right, David quick to pull somebody down, bro.
Hey man, let me play some music. Let's do a couple stories in the after party. We'll be right back after this quick break, man.
Yeah, let's get it.
I got an appetite. Let's make ourselves a treat.
Industrial Arts, what's going on? You stupid.
Serve it up the way you please.
Mama, can't stand you, lady.
You stir, you hear, you squeeze. So thick, push up and butter me. Push that, shake that, smack that, ace that, dump that, marinate that. We don't need a recipe. Whip that cream, baby. Pour that sweet honey, baby. Shade up, we can cook up, we can serve.
All right, y'all. Ella Hart, good morning. Ella Loom, good morning as well, too.
Whip that cream.
Right now, y'all, we are about to go to the after party. So this stream will be ending momentarily. So y'all take y'all ass on over there to the after party, man. And if you're not a Patreon member yet, patreon.com/LikeItOrNot or patreon.com/The VPD Show. Excuse me. And you can join and get access to the patron parties, the patron party, and the after party. So make sure that y'all grab become a patron man. And if you're not coming today, we will see y'all later on. Before you get out of here, let me give you an affirmation for my people that are not coming to the after party. The affirmation for today is: I accept what I cannot change, and I find the courage to change the things I can. I accept what I cannot change and find the courage to change the things I can. Y'all be great today, man. Love y'all, mean it, and we will see y'all tomorrow after party. Let's get it. Let's go.